Today we're here with my friend Connie Jones. Connie is a unique personality. She has been a top tennis player herself and a coach and even you really headed the program at a major high school, right? You were the head of the program and then a coach. And most importantly, she is unique because she coached boys, and we're here to talk about that. What some of her insight is, not only as a competitor, but then what she brought to that arena and the uniqueness of coaching, of being a woman, a professional level athlete, and a top college athlete, and translating that to an arena that is male dominated. And then you made a choice, right? A choice to work with young men. Why don't we start off by telling everybody what your background as an athlete was first, and how you got into coaching?
Growing up in the tri-state area in late 60s through 76 is when I graduated from college. I was privy to probably the best junior development tennis program in the world. Harry Hopman had come over and was at Port Washington. He was a former Davis Cup coach, has developed some of the top players in the world. And then Alex Mayer Sr. had come over from Russia and started what was called Project Jersey. So you had Peter Fleming, Alex Mayer, Jeannie Mayer, Mary Carrillo. You had a lot of top, John McEnroe, Mark McEnroe. They were all coming out of that program. So it was, it was a blessing to be involved in that.
And can you tell me or tell us what you did as a competitor?
In the juniors, I played D1 tennis at Rollins College when it was D1. It's D2 now. I was a top junior from 12 years old up to 18. I did play qualifiers for the women's tour. I did play Virginia Slims for a short period of time. So yeah.
And then you got into coaching. And can you tell us about that?
And then I got into teaching tennis, certified USPTA. And then I also played a game called platform tennis and certified in that PPTA. I coached for the national team for Eastern, which was a great opportunity too, to work with all ages at sort of the top echelon of ability, mostly helping out the Eastern players, boys and girls.
And you still compete, correct?
And I still compete, correct, in both racket sports, platform tennis and tennis.
That's great. That's great. Now, the interest among a whole bunch of other things that we've talked about. The major thing I want to go over today is that you had the experience of. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if you initiated the program at a major high school, but you really were at the top of it, right? And the most interesting thing is that you actually coach boys, and I'd like you to tell us about that experience.
1997, I was actually asked by the head of the parent board, Libby Florin, if I was interested in coaching. And I went into the athletic director at that point. He gave me a choice of coaching the boys or the girls. And from historically my background in tennis, I am a serve and volleyer, and playing lots of sort of boys sports because my brother was a very gifted athlete. And because there are 4 very interesting books written on the differences between boys and girls, particularly at teenage level and how they compete, I decided to teach the boys. Essentially, the generalization, which there are exceptions to, is that girls tend to make competition something personal, whereas guys will beat each other up, call each other names, and then walk off best buddies and leave the competition on the court.
Now, did you find that? I guess my question is, you let me interrupt myself. You and I made the point when we first were talking about this that I have a friend who does batting cages, and he made what I thought was an interesting, and I was kind of surprised at it, funny comment that he said if I had my druthers, I would switch over to girls like that, and because the major market, people don't realize this, is that the major market for sports instruction is actually 12 and under. It's like in baseball, it's like 85% of the business. People tend to market the information and the language and everything to the high end. And I often find, whoa, 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 you know, you're using terminology that somebody's going to have to look up in a dictionary. But it's 12 and under, and then as it, you know, kids do other things, they, you know, then 15, and then by the time they get older, then it separates into the kid. I always tell parents, by the time your kid is a junior, then they will decide whether they want to go on to the next level or not. But in that age range, my friend was saying that he found that the girls were infinitely more highly motivated, more intelligent, to be honest with you, more structured, more disciplined, took responsibility better. Do you agree with those things now?
I would totally agree with that. I think at the high school level, I used to invite the top players from the girls' team. Marie Watanabe was one of them who went on to play D1 tennis. I would have 6-day-a-week practices, so Sunday afternoons, I invited a lot of the top players that were on the girls' team over to play. And yes, I found that very much so, that they were more mature, that you know, their goal setting and their seriousness to setting those goals, you know, was a little bit more, was more mature than the boys. That is true. Yeah.
Okay, so now the bottom line, the $64,000 question is, how did you find it? Can you tell me some of the nuances can you tell me what that environment was like when here you are, a woman who's competed at a high level? You know, you're obviously mature and intelligent, you know what you're doing, and you're working with boys. Now, how did you find that experience, and specifically, what tools did you use to handle them?
Opposite sex coaching from the girls to the boys, I think, is very difficult. I think it's rare that it really actually is successful. I think most girls that are very talented would prefer a male coach. I've found that many times. So essential from my point of view.
Why is that? Why do you think that is?
I think it's respect. I think it's respect of their ability to be able to really show them how to take their game to the next level. Is a woman going to be able to do that, or is a man going to be able to do that better? Yeah, they're faster, they're stronger, they've been at that competitive level a little bit more seriously. As a generalization, okay, there are exceptions to that. You know, Sue Murs could teach the girls hockey team because she's won an Olympic gold medal. You know, that would be an exception.
I had an interesting experience the other day, just in a class, and a lot of the girls, I have to tell you, a lot of the girls in a gym class, physical education class, stand there, and there's the ball. Well, there's, you know, it's very funny, but there was one girl in a class the other day, and man, she's tearing down the court, and I was really attracted to her energy, and I complimented her. I said, "You're," and you could see what you're talking about. That she would, you know, she was really attracted to that, to my dialogue. That the compliment, you know, she's really tuned to a different thing that maybe a male coach could offer her. That may be the perception.
So what I would need to do in spring was I usually held a meeting, and they have to have your respect. They have to know where you came from, what your accolades are, why you deserve to be in front of them. And obviously I was able to deliver that. Yes, the other part of the appreciation of working with high school boys is it was totally like that. You throw a group of balls out in the court, and it was literally like having a bunch of 4-year-olds. The energy level is 120% all the time. So it's honing that, and I had a whole procedure on how to do that, and the team concept is key to that. Is just
Can I ask you? Let me
team
just
concept.
try to focus that narrowly. Focus that a little bit. Okay, so they've got all this testosterone, whatever, all this energy. Now, did you find that as a woman, and then obviously you have to channel that?
Sure.
Now, do you think that experience would be different if I was there as opposed to you, and how did you do that?
Well, if you were a qualified tennis pro with the
Which I'm
background that I
not.
had, you would know I would divide every court into a different segment of the game. They would need to keep score. There are winning and losing elements to it, and then there's conditioning at the end. So there was a whole science going on every day on all 8 courts, and trust me, I spent about an hour and a half setting that up. So when they arrived, they had a definite program as to what's going on, and coaching going on at the same time.
That's great.
And I was accused of running my own academy at the high school, and indeed I was. Indeed I was.
And you were. I want to end with just an important question. It sounds like you were very successful. Were there any, looking back, were there any thing that you would say that was a problem because I was a woman in that environment? Did you ever have a situation like that?
I'd hate to make that statement, and
It sounds like you're very successful.